Today we're painting a movie I've never seen before using a colour I hate. I want to see if this challenge will change my perspective and actually make me like green. We're back with a new episode of the Scene series, but this time there are several twists. First up, we're using gouache for the very first time in this sketchbook. And secondly, Liz Gridley has requested that my partner Buddy does the voiceover. A little insider commentary. Before all of that, we need to get ready for this painting. This is the movie scene we're painting today. It's from the film The Mask, and this request here, the character is green. There's a lot of green, but I love this scene because it's a really cool outfit, and it's gouache. Kinda scared. I guess a good place to begin would be the underpainting, and it only makes sense to be green, right?
It's so annoying that you're smart, that your casual conversation, even a short duration, can cover everything from science-based to art. It's so obnoxious that you're kind, that you always have time for family and help out everybody, as if a million things don't occupy your mind.
I don't know about you, but I always love to start with the background first when it comes to this medium, though it's already looking odd. Okay, time to pass it over to Buddy.
Okay, I am absolutely terrified to be doing this, really anxious, but we'll do our best. Right now we're covering up that lovely underpainting with some blues, I guess, and now touching up the hats. One thing I will say is I am very colorblind, so a lot of this might be quite difficult, so if I say the wrong color whilst painting, please ignore that. Right now we're touching up the background, adding greens and blues and making it look from one dark to another, I guess. Adding some lovely, I guess, puke green, which is fun. And now we're adding some lighter blues to the side. It doesn't look like anything I've ever seen before, but I guess stuff is happening. We're changing the background, we're layering gouache. I think this is the correct thing to be doing. I don't really know gouache at all, but I guess we're making some form of progress. Having now seen the movie, it's very cartoony and almost skit-based. Oh, and now we're reacting. We are not too happy with the background. That is unfortunate. Those are some lovely headphones, though. They're really good. And of course, we're listening to Celine. Why wouldn't we? There is nothing wrong with Celine. The film was from the 90s and Celine was in the 90s, so I guess it's accurate. Okay, now we're mixing one of the thousands of greens. Okay, and now we're doing the hat. That is not a pleasant color. What color is that? It's like a greeny brown. And we're doing the lips the same. That is something I do in my own art. I try and use the same color multiple times to make it cohesive. I don't know if that's the correct thing to do, but I guess it is. If I remember this scene correctly, he's kind of dressed like he's from the 1950s, like some sort of barber shop. So I guess we're doing the vest now with that horrifying shade of green or brown or
Beige.
beige. It's beige apparently. And now we are still layering that. Oh, we're tappity-tappying and moving on to the Tommy gun with a green again. I know it's the mask. There is a lot of green in the mask, but I wasn't expecting green to be under the grey of the gun. We're moving on, a nice bright green. See, that's a lot more what I envisioned. This is the thing I've noticed about all these paintings with the watercolor, with gouache, with acrylic markers, with any of it, is the sheer amount of layers that go into a piece that you just end up not seeing. Yeah, I'm probably sure they tone the piece or provide some detail and depth and contrast, and it is something I'm starting to learn with my own art, but it's sheerly, but it makes sense why so many people take multiple hours and days creating one piece when this much goes into it, this many details. Okay, now we're adding more contrast in. We're adding more green to the grey gun, but I'm sure... Oh, that is a very bright red. Was not expecting expecting red to come out. That is fantastic. And we're doing the lips. He did have really juicy lips in the film, I will say that. Oh, fun fact. Apparently, he had the oversized teeth in the film were only meant to be there for silent scenes. But Jim Carrey, being Jim Carrey, learned how to speak with the oversized teeth in, so they kept it in for all of it, which wasn't the original plan. Okay, now we're adding details and shading to the hat. It's kind of a straw texture, so I guess adding polka dots to it works. Oh, leaning in far, must be quite a delicate point. Is that black? Why are we adding black? Oh no, it's a dark green again. There is so much going on, and I'm way too far away to actually see what's happening. You can see the reference in the bottom corner. We're flicking backwards and forwards. It's always good to have a reference, something that both myself and Chantel often forget to have available. Adding more blues and greens, working on that face. If I remember correctly, you struggled with that face for a while. You were not happy with it. You just have to keep on pushing through. As Dory would say, you just got to keep on swimming. Right, now we're moving on to shadows. It seems like we're happy with the base layer and the main flats, so we're now adding the contrast and the depth to the piece. This is probably my favourite part of anything. Oh, now we're doing highlights. I didn't get to talk about the shadows for very long. But there's green shadow, the highlights. Why am I surprised? It's the mask, it's very green. At the time of painting this, we hadn't actually seen the mask, so it was a bit of an odd one to film, but we have now watched it. It was very odd, wasn't it? I don't know what the tone of that movie was, and I'm pretty sure we weren't the target audience. If we were 12, it would have been hilarious. Adding some final touches to this layer, and then it will be time for lunch.
Okay, just had some lunch. I didn't really know what to do from here. I guess we need some details in the background. There's kind of like a frame behind here, which we don't have. I don't know what will happen if we go over it now though. Sometimes gouache goes a little bit weird. And this is my first time using it this year, I think. I don't really remember it. Obviously that there is very unfinished as well. So let's make a start on that. It just looks really patchy. I think that's because there isn't much white in it. It's not super opaque. And obviously this is water activated. It's dry on the palette, so it's not going to be as opaque as using it straight from the tube. It's a little bit harder. No, okay, it's way harder in my opinion using dry gouache like this, but we have a lot on the palette. Once all of this is used up, I will be using it straight from the tube. Really not very opaque. We might have to make it a little bit lighter, which might also help it pop a little bit actually from the background. But this one's a little bit crumbly. This is a vintage tube. Okay, it's looking a little bit more like gouache now, and even darker over here, and just around the edges perhaps. Guess we could do with the face being a little bit darker as well. I don't know why this ended up so much lighter. Maybe they're missing a bit of head. Just bring that up over here. It's definitely darker, this mixture. Only thing is it's looking very much like my art style and less like the character. Oh, maybe that's a little bit better actually. We'll have to blend these out a bit too, I think. We kind of need the background to follow around here, don't we? Just don't know if it's gonna work. It might be that the bottom layer is just a little bit too thick, in which case it will just lift it up. Oh, dry brushing, that's an idea actually. Okay, I just went right over the face then. But that's the good thing about gouache, is we can add what we need. Just wash off the brush and just blend it out. Same with these areas here that were just a little bit strong. And that's what I love about gouache, it's so workable. I do have acrylic gouache, which I thought about recently. I honestly kind of forgot. I've only tried it a little bit, but I just don't really know how to use it. I would like to. A little bit of green here as well, just to match the rest of the scene. The blue isn't coming across like the picture either, honestly. It looks so muddy. I mean, really, it would be like adding blue just on top, wouldn't it? Just dries so much muddier. Oh, I need to do something with this too. We'll add a little bit of red and then just come back to it, I think. Okay, the background, it's like bricks. So I guess we're just gonna try and do that, I guess. I don't want it to be super detailed. I want it to look a little bit blurry, a little bit abstract, just so the focus is definitely on the character. And I think it helps with this being so white. Maybe we need bright highlights here. That's the thing with gouache, is it looks very different when it's wet compared to when it's dry. It might work, it might not. This bit here, it's looking a bit too loose. Doesn't really look like bricks. Could always add a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow. It's getting there. I don't think there's that much more to do. Obviously, it needs to look a lot more like bricks, and we need to do something with the eyes and a bit of the hat. Hopefully some line work is going to save this. I mean, it did kind of save the best significantly.
If you could be just a little less perfect, then I could say I don't have time and it's not worth it. But how is a girl to resist you and all the little things you do? Oh, if you can get much better, don't, 'cause it'll get much harder.
And we're back. Chantel said there wasn't much more to do, and to be honest, I can't see anything that's needed, but we're adding more shadows and that line work to try and save it. Bold line work is definitely something I'm looking for, and we are adding so many little details and a nice lovely poo brown. That's really pleasant, but I guess if it's accurate, it's accurate. And more green, lovely green bricks, or is that beige again? Again, want to preface, I am very colorblind. I actually went to the opticians once who did their masters on colorblindness and was very excited to test mine out, had their own book and file about it and tested me through all of the ones she knew, and then she looked at me and went, I have no clue what is wrong with you, which is fairly accurate for my life. We're adding some more deep shadows to add the contrast back in. I would not have a steady hand in this. That is one of the things that is most remarkable, is how steady your line work is. It's fantastic. You're adding more deep shadows and covering up more of that green. I'm so glad we did that lovely green underpainting. I think it really shows through so much. Adding the whites to the eyes and some highlights, changing up those oversized teeth as well. From what I've heard, the mask is actually based on a comic, and the comic is brutal. So if you enjoy the Mask film, probably don't look up the graphic novel. And we're adding more purples in, looking at some more contrast. That is one of the things I've learned the most about, especially the Scene series, is it's all well and good having the right colors and the right proportions, but if you don't have that contrast in, it's not readable. That is almost like the most important part, at least in my own head it is. This has been a bit of a different video, but if you've enjoyed this, remember to like, comment and subscribe. We're on a load of different socials, so check out Instagram and TikTok, check out the Discord, all that fun stuff. The Scene series is getting close to one of our longest running series so far. I mean, this is the 29th episode, which is completely wild. And this sketchbook, especially when it's finished, but even now, it's looking incredible. I cannot wait for the tour for this, which will be coming in about 3 years' time. And with the painting finished, we're about to be removing the tape, which means one thing. After watching and helping on the editing for 29 episodes of the Scene series, the one tip that gets drilled into me is always heat up your tape before you remove it. It gives that lovely crisp outline and really makes the piece. And we're about to head into the reveal. I hope you've enjoyed this voiceover, bit of a different one, and hope I wasn't too anxious or boring or loud or quiet. So this is an absolutely stunning piece. Look at all that gouache that was ended up using. That amount of texture. That's incredible. I mean, I've seen it up close before, but this is fantastic. Look at those highlights. Wow, I'd like this as a sticker from your shop. Thank you everyone for watching, and bye-bye.
Bye.